You've watched Frieza get stomped again and again, right? You've seen Goku beat him galaxy after galaxy, timeline after timeline. But what if just for a moment he actually won? What if during the Namek Saga, Frieza got all 7 Dragon Balls, made his wish, and became truly immortal? You might think you already know what would happen. You might assume the heroes would find a loophole, or Goku shows up just in time, or someone smart talks their way out of it. But if you think that, you're about to realize you're nowhere near prepared for what comes next. Because this isn't just a battle, this isn't just a detour, this is a rewriting of the universe as we know it. Frieza isn't some random villain who gets lucky. He's the embodiment of terror writ large. He destroys planets for fun. He kills entire civilizations just to prove a point. He thrives in chaos. And in this timeline, he finally gets what he wants: immortality. How does it happen? Simple. He gets the 7 Dragon Balls before Goku even arrives. Vegeta never frees himself. Gohan and Krillin's balls are found. Frieza collects them all, and this time he figures out the language requirement. He speaks in Namekian. The sky cracks open, Porunga rises, and Frieza gets what he asked for: eternal life. Except when eternity arrives, things go horribly wrong. When Frieza becomes immortal, he doesn't revel in it quietly. He doesn't test it slowly. He doesn't laugh maniacally in some cute short anime moment you see in fights. No, he immediately begins reshaping reality around him. Gohan and Krillin remain his prisoners. Vegeta lies unconscious, beaten, unable to stop what's coming. Bulma is alone, terrified, trying to piece together anything that might save her friends. The Namekians watch from afar, sensing this catastrophic shift, not fully understanding what it means, but feeling the chill in the air, the dread in their bones. And far above the planet, Goku finally arrives, but he senses immediately that this isn't the timeline he expected to walk into. Goku lands. He senses the destruction, the tension. He moves with that familiar rush of electricity in his veins, the promise of a fight, the relief of hope for his friends. He starts taking down the Ginyu Force just like he originally did. Each one falls faster and harder this time. Explosions, shockwaves, craters forming in the ground. His strength is absurd. But then he gets to Frieza, and it's nothing like before. Goku launches into Kaioken after Kaioken. Frieza transforms, and at every level, 3rd form, 4th form, Goku feels something different. He can hit Frieza, but it doesn't stick. Something heals him every time. Something denies damage the moment it lands. You see, immortality isn't a joke in this timeline. It isn't a gimmick. It's a full rewrite of biological permanence. Every wound Frieza suffers, he recovers almost instantly. His cells rebuild themselves. His body refuses to kneel. In this battle, something that once took hours in the original timeline now feels like pushing against an immovable mountain. Goku pushes harder. He hits Kaioken times 20. He goes beyond, but it's not enough. And then, in a horrifying moment, Frieza dismembers Goku. He pierces him through the chest, and Goku falls. Dead? No, just unconscious. Because Goku still had a few Senzu beans, and one just by sheer chance falls close enough for him to reach. He drags himself toward it, bloody and fading, picks it up with his teeth, swallows it, and slowly, painfully rises again. Only he's not the same. The blow of losing his friends, seeing his son Gohan massacred, hearing the silence where laughter used to be, breaks something in him. Not physically, but emotionally, spiritually, mentally. But when that happens, something awakens. The Saiyan inside him, the one driven by growth, by challenge, by loss, ignites. Goku becomes the first Super Saiyan in this timeline, not through training or yearning for strength, but through rage that tears open reality itself. Electricity crackles across the sky, lightning strikes from a cloudless heaven, and his hair flares golden. His aura explodes into fire. The ground shakes. The Namekian sun flickers. Every life on that planet feels the tremor of a new power born of absolute grief and fury. Super Saiyan Goku annihilates Frieza, but he doesn't kill him. Not in the way Dragon Ball Z fans expect, because Frieza's immortality doesn't allow death. Instead, Frieza gets battered, crushed, broken limb from limb, organs liquefied, every part of his body torn apart, and yet he slowly, horrifyingly knits himself back together. His cells refuse to let him die. His immortality overrides mortality. The bones regrow, the tissue reconstructs, the wounds seal. And in the final moments before Namek explodes, because this battle releases catastrophic energy, Goku and the surviving Namekians die in the eruption. No escape, no teleport, no second chance. Frieza once again survives. But something surprising happens. Frieza doesn't laugh about it. He feels disgusted. Not because he wasn't powerful, no. He sees now that eternal life isn't enough. He watched Goku rise from death stronger than before. He watched strength that wasn't rooted in cruelty or domination, but in emotion, loyalty, love. sadness, courage, violently surge into something that even he couldn't permanently suppress. And that humbles him. And for the first time in his existence, Frieza experiences something he never expected. Respect. Not for Goku, no, for the concept of potential rising from suffering that isn't rooted in tyranny. Frieza retreats. He begins to reflect, a rare and terrifying phenomenon for someone who never introspected before. And he remembers something from his father. Never mess with Lord Beerus, not even us. That memory sticks with him. Not for fear, but strategy. Because if there's one thing Frieza hates more than being outmatched, it's being irrelevant. So he trains, and he trains, and trains. Years pass, decades even, as Frieza pushes his strength, his mastery over ki, his strategies, his armor, his transformations beyond anything he thought possible. The Empire grows. Monsters and soldiers stand loyal, not out of fear, but ambition. And Frieza's name becomes not just tyranny, but legend, whispered in fear across the star systems. Then word comes of a threat, the very threat that almost destroyed the universe in another timeline. Babidi's forces trying to resurrect Majin Buu. But unlike that version of events, Frieza doesn't just destroy them, he listens. He learns. He kills the Supreme Kai, not because he's angry, but because he wants to understand what makes gods and mortals connect, and how to control both. When he kills the Supreme Kai, something incredible happens. The god of destruction linked to him, Beerus, dies too. The balance of the cosmos teeters, and suddenly, Frieza finds himself summoned by the Grand Priest. Can you imagine the cold, calculating emperor of the universe, standing before the multi-cosmic hierarchy? The Grand Priest tells him something strange. Beerus is dead. The Supreme Kai is dead. Universe 7 needs a new destroyer. Frieza doesn't hesitate. He accepts. Whis becomes his mentor, ironically serving as angel to the tyrant who once would have destroyed him swiftly if roles were reversed. And for perhaps the first time ever, Frieza learns discipline, not out of fear or punishment, but because he chooses to grow. Now cloaked in divine authority, Frieza doesn't rule through fear as much as through strategy, terror, and dominance of logic. Universe 7 bows to him, not just in fear, but in the cold realization that resistance is futile. But life loves surprises, especially in Dragon Ball. Despite every attempt to erase them, someone still survived. Someone left in the far reaches of space, a planet called Vampa. Paragus lived there with his son Broly. When Frieza arrives and brutally kills Paragus, Broly explodes into rage. The legendary Super Saiyan is born not from destiny, but from raw primal grief. And in their first battle, Frieza realizes something terrifying. Even his godly training and ultra ego control are not enough to keep up with Broly's relentless force. They fight for 3 days. 3 days of cosmic devastation. Mountains crumble, seas boil, storms rage, energy rips the fabric of space. Frieza orders Whis to heal Broly, not for mercy, but for challenge. Because a warrior worth fighting must keep fighting. Whis is meticulous. He doesn't just heal Broly, he restores him. Tendons, muscles, spirit, energy, everything regrows. And so the battle resumes. Frieza, now driven not by conquest, but by the pure thrill of a challenge, pushes himself into forms no mortal should access. Ultra Ego Mastery, Black Frieza transformation. Every surge, every roar, every technique pushed to cataclysmic levels. Eventually, after unimaginable struggle, Frieza stands victorious over Broly. Not because he lacks strength, but because he learned to embrace his own limits and push beyond them. But still, victory wasn't enough, because Frieza's ambition always reaches further. Destroying gods, defeating Saiyans, mastering universal power. These were all milestones, but now even gods are obstacles. And the ultimate challenge? Becoming the ruler of not one universe, but the entire multiverse. Frieza sets his sights on the Super Dragon Balls, the legendary orbs scattered across universes that can grant anything without limitation. He wants to become the uncontested strongest being in existence. But in a twist of cosmic irony, Universe 7, his own creation, his own domain, falls. The mortal level drops below 0. The universe is erased by Zeno. The Empire Frieza built collapses, just like that, wiped from existence. Frieza watches, not in anger or fear, but in cold calculation. He realizes that even domination is temporary unless you understand the very nature of existence itself. And that, right there, is the tragic and fascinating reflection of Frieza's transformation in this timeline. He conquered galaxies, gods, and monsters, but the multiverse he wanted to rule was always beyond reach. And perhaps this is the true lesson, that ambition without purpose becomes a void. That domination without connection is hollow. That endless power can still be less if everything you built eventually disappears. If you want to follow up on what if Vegeta got the Dragon Balls, or what if Beerus awoke during the Saiyan saga, drop a comment and let's explore those timelines too. Who knows, the next alternate universe might be even stranger. Hit like, subscribe, and share if you want more of these deep alternate Dragon Ball realities. Your imagination is the only limit now.